This Washington Post piece says law enforcement is spying on thousands of Americans' mail, according to records. The Postal Service approves thousands of requests every year from police officers and federal agents seeking information about Americans' letters and packages, and that they don't have to have a court order. Postal inspectors say they fulfill these requests when mail monitoring can help find a fugitive or investigate a crime. But they say a decade's worth of records provided exclusively to the Post in response to a congressional probe show that Postal Service officials have received more than 60,000 requests from federal agents and police officers since 2015, and they rarely say no. Each request can cover days or weeks of mail sent to or from a person or address, and they said 97% of the requests were approved according to the data, and that these inspectors recorded more than 312,000 letters and packages, all between 2015 and 2023. Interesting, Kane, is it not?
It is.
It's the Mail Covers program. That's the surveillance technique. And they track down suspects or evidence. It's legal. They said that they only share what they see on the outside. They have to get a warrant per Fourth Amendment to look inside the package or the envelope. But we all trust the government when they say, oh, sure, they absolutely will get a warrant. That's correct. Yes, they will. Do you believe that, Kane?
No.
And they won't say how often they facilitate such requests. That's it. In fact, the only thing that we have that gets into that is there was this audit done in 2015 that said that if they release any details about it beforehand, that it would tip off any criminals and it would show how the technique works. So that's it. They had, check this out, for over 4 years, the agency said it approved more than 158,000 requests from postal inspectors and law enforcement. That's over a span of 4 years. The top people who made the requests, IRS, FBI, Department of Homeland Security.
No.
So you had Rand Paul and Ron Wyden who were asking the agency to require a federal judge to approve this stuff. It's like red flag law, but with your mail. Really. They said that they made these requests. They've recorded, about the chief postal inspector, Gary Barksdale. He refused to change the policy. He provided what he said was a decade's worth of data showing these inspectors, agencies, etc., made an average about almost like 6,700 requests a year. And they recorded data from another 35,000 pieces of mail a year. So for what? What are you looking for? I'm just curious. How is it? And what Barksdale wrote is that there's no reasonable expectation of privacy with respect to information contained on the outside of mail matter.
Okay.
Yeah. But isn't this, Wyden said in a letter that you're subjecting thousands of people to warrantless surveillance. Mm-hmm. You're surveilling what they're getting. That's what this is. That's a sidestep, what Barksdale said. I don't know.
I think it's a stretch to call it like public, like, oh, it's on the outside, so it's kind of like my eyes in public. But isn't it a federal offense to open up someone else's mail or to even acquire someone else's mail?
It's a federal offense to mess with somebody's mailbox.
Yeah, their mailbox. So the only way you'd be seeing it is either doing it at the post office or if you're in the truck as it's getting put into the person's mailbox. So, yeah, that's a little intrusive. And I'm a little uncomfortable at government agencies are all about this.
In 1798, when Thomas Jefferson was vice president, it was noted that he wrote in this letter that his fears of having his own private communications exposed by the, quote, infidelities of the post office had stopped him from, quote, writing fully and freely.
Yeah, there it is.
I mean, you know how grandparents used to send checks for your birthday?
Yeah.
And they would wrap it up in like all kinds of stuff. My grandmother would wrap it up in newspaper clippings and then put it in another piece of paper and then put it in an envelope.
Yes.
She was, merciless about it. She'd wrap it up in a couple different pieces of newsprint.
Yeah.
Thought it was interesting. And it looked like if you try to look at it, it just looked like a letter. You didn't know there was a check or anything inside.
So if they law enforcement admits they're doing this with mail, what are they doing that they're not admitting to?
You want me to answer that seriously?
Well, I mean, clearly our phones, our social media traffic,
Mm-hmm.
everything else that's quote unquote public, just like they're claiming these mail pieces are.
Mm-hmm.
So they're doing it there too. They must be.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like unprecedented.
Yeah. Yeah. Yay.